Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Don't you love, look at this beautiful dog right here. My goodness, folks. This is Darby. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. And then right next to him is Athena. Again, beautiful dogs. And both of them, Susan, we're at Bossier Animal Control this morning. Both of these were animals that were dumped at some point, right?
Yes.
What happened to Darby?
Darby was actually dumped out in front of our building with her mom and 8 other puppies when she was just 8 weeks old.
Gosh. How often does that happen?
It happens fairly often. We walk in probably once a month with a bucket of puppies outside our front door.
My gosh. And then Athena?
Athena was abandoned in a backyard recently with 2 other dogs. Her owner was the area and went to Texas.
Just left them in the backyard.
Yes, and they weren't discovered for a while. Finally discovered by the landlord, who then finally made contact with us, and we were able to step in and save them.
All right, I'm going to show you some pictures of 3 again right here in Bossier. They had been, as best I can tell, abandoned in Bossier. My wife and I just happened to be at the park. We saw them. They were hungry. It was cold. We tended to them for a couple of days, and they ended up here.
Yes.
And because the owner had actually microchipped his dog, right?
No, we microchipped him when we
Okay,
sent him to
you did.
foster.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so the owner had done what?
The owner had come to Bossier City Animal Control on Thursday to surrender his dogs, but we were at capacity due to the cold weather. So we asked him to hang on to his dogs until we could get through the cold weather, and then we would take them in for him just to keep them home and safe.
Okay.
He refused to do that and went ahead and dumped them in the city.
And that's wrong, okay?
That is
Not only is it
wrong.
morally wrong, folks, it's legally wrong. It's against the law.
It's animal cruelty.
It is. Amen. All right, let's talk about the options. Tanya Parker is with Paws for Life, which is a fantastic organization that has literally rescued, and I'm not kidding, folks, 11,000 dogs and some cats. All right, what are some of the options for somebody instead of dumping a dog?
There's so many options that we have here. We have over a dozen rescues in the Shreveport-Bossier area, along with Ruston, Natchitoches, Wascom. There are rescues all around that you can contact. You can contact Paws for Life via pawsforlifecato@gmail.com, and you can ask for help. You can say, what can we do? What can other people do? There's a network that's very huge here. And so that we can get you a foster possibly. We can give you some resources. We can give you food. We can even help sometimes financially to board your dog if it is in extreme circumstances. But do reach out to family, friends, Facebook, your neighbors. Find someone to help and not put these animals in harm's way.
Absolutely. It's going to get really, really cold again this weekend, folks. And the last thing, can you imagine that beautiful girl right there freezing to death? It's wrong. In every way, it's wrong. And there are alternatives. There are rescues and people that care. There's fosters and people that may want to adopt. And by the way, if you want to adopt, these two, they're ready to go, right, Susan?
Yes, they are.
Look at Darby. I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous and
Likes other
gentle.
dogs.
And look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. By the way, both potty trained?
Potty trained, likes other dogs.
You can't beat it. Just 2. Give them a home, folks. But the worst thing you could ever do is dump a dog. There are alternatives. Don't ever dump a dog. Good morning, everybody. Rick Rowe. This is Miley. Miley was abandoned somewhere in Bossier City, a stray dog. And fortunately, someone, a good Samaritan, called Bossier Animal Control before that dog was hit by a car or starved to death. And he's currently right now at Bossier Animal Control. There she is. And she is a beauty. Don't you love that? Been here for 2 months, though, folks. That's too long. She needs an owner. That's okay. She's happy this morning. Over here, Susan, tell me who you have.
We have Betty White and Joy.
Betty White and Joy. How did they end up here?
Betty White was found out in town with 2 puppies eaten out of the trash. We saved her. Her 2 puppies have been adopted, and it's her turn. She's the brown one. Joy has been here about a month. She was found as a stray in the city, and she's ready for a home. She's full of energy.
Amen. And these two, talk about energy.
These 2 are still puppies. They're between 6 and 7 months old. They're females. Both get along great. They've been here for about 2.5 weeks.
All right. Now, I want to show you some video that a circumstance that happened to me and my wife on Saturday. We were at Meadowview Park playing some pickleball. 3 dogs came up to us. We could tell they were hungry and cold. And it turns out these 3 dogs had been dumped. We don't know where, but they ended up at Meadowview Park. My wife and I took care of them for a couple of days. They ended up here, thank God. Susan, come over this way. This happens far too often,
right.
Especially, and the reason I'm here this morning, folks, is I've experienced this now. I've run across stray animals that are cold and hungry, and that's wrong, okay?
Yes.
And there are options. First of all, it's morally wrong. It's legally wrong, okay?
It's animal
it is
cruelty.
against the law. It's animal cruelty. And you see this a lot.
Daily.
Daily. Literally.
Yes. People dump them on the streets. They dump them in front of our shelter. They dump them down the road. It happens every day.
And there are options.
Options. Lots of options.
Okay. You just transported some cats
Yes.
to Houston.
Yes.
Okay. And you transport as often as you can.
Often as we can.
Up north. It's kind of the way that's a relatively new thing that has happened here in recent years.
Yes.
You get them out of here into places up north where they really are in demand.
Yeah, where they can be adopted.
Okay. So your word to anybody that is thinking about dumping a dog?
Don't do it. We will prosecute you.
Okay. I like to hear it. Speaking of transportation, come over. Tanya Parker is with us, an amazing organization called Paws for Life. And they, and this incredible organization, have literally transported 11,000, mostly dogs, to all kinds of places up north. Correct. So the options, and this is what we want to tell you, if you can't, for whatever reason, don't think you can handle your dogs anymore, there are other things that you can do besides dumping.
Absolutely. And the options are that we have over a dozen rescues in just Shreveport Bossier, not counting our surrounding parishes. Yes, they are probably full, but they will work with you. We will work with you. Contact us at Paws for Life Caddo, and we will help you find help or help you possibly with boarding. You look for a foster. You also need to post on social media, talk to your friends, your family, your neighborhood, people that can help you, that there are many, many options. If you need food, my understanding Bossier helps with food,
Yes.
and we will too.
Yes.
So there's no excuse, no reason to dump a dog.
Amen. All right, again, folks, the situation that I encountered, now fortunately my 3 dogs now are being taken care of by a local vet, and we're going to visit with them in our next half hour. But I just want you to understand, first of all, it's just wrong, okay? I don't have to say anything more than that. But it's also against the law, Susan.
Yes.
And there is prosecution.
Yes.
People that dump dogs are prosecuted.
Yes, they'll be arrested by Bossier City Police Department and prosecuted by our city attorney's office.
Okay, fantastic. All right. In the meantime, let's get these guys adopted. That's Miley over there that you saw earlier. These 2 are Betty White.
And Joy.
And then over here,
We have Remy and Sophie.
Remy and Sophie. Look, they're beautiful dogs. And can you imagine? There's no better companion, folks, than a dog. If you need a best friend, come find one right here this morning at Bossier Animal Control. Coming back to y'all. Hey, Brian, thank you, brother. This is Bossier Animal Control. I want you to look at 2 beautiful animals. That's Ned and Diamond over there. And I want you to hear Ned's story because it'll break your heart. All right, Susan. Susan is the director here at Bossier Animal Control. Tell me what happened with Ned.
Ned was brought in as a stray, but we're pretty sure he was his owner was dropping him off. And when his owner left, he let out a cry like no other, which just shows the attachment between an owner and a dog.
So the owner walked out of the room.
Yes.
And this dog saw the owner leave.
Yes.
And he cried out like, "Don't leave me."
Yes.
That's the emotional attachment that there is.
Yes.
All right, I've got my own story. My wife and I at Meadowview Park over the weekend, we saw 3 dogs that appeared to be strays, and turns out they had been dumped there somehow or another. We don't know where, but the owner had abandoned them. And we took care of them for a couple of days. They ended up here, and now we've got them at a vet here in town taking care of them. But the message I want to send is don't do that.
Right.
Especially at this time of the year.
Yeah,
Do not dump a dog.
Yeah, don't abandon them. Don't come in here and say it's not your dog. If it's your dog and you need to surrender it, be honest with us so we can help you surrender it the right way.
All right, it's morally wrong and it's legally wrong.
Yes, it is.
What do you mean by that?
It's animal cruelty. It's just, we will prosecute you if you dump a dog. If you leave a dog outside the door after hours when it's closed, it's against the law.
Okay.
If you find a stray and you take possession of that stray and then you decide you don't want that stray anymore, you dump it outside our door after business hours, it's against the law.
Okay.
You've taken possession of that dog and you've taken responsibility for that dog.
Amen. All right, this is Diamond?
Yes.
Tell me about Diamond.
She's been here over 100 days. She was seized on a welfare case for horrible conditions. She was chained up in a backyard with puppies. Her puppies have all been adopted, if they were hers, and she needs a home someone to love her and keep her inside.
Did you hear that? Chained up in a
Yes.
backyard.
Yes.
All right. Tanya, come over. Tanya Parker's with this wonderful organization, Pause for Life. The other point we want to make is don't just dump a dog. There are better ways. There are alternatives.
There are so many alternatives, and here in our Bossier, Shreveport area, we have well over a dozen rescues that you can contact. Bossier Animal Control has a list. You can go on any website. You can contact us. We will try to help you and give you food if you need that. We will talk with you about getting a foster, putting them in boarding. The shelters will work with you as well. So there's no excuse really to abandon a dog. It's just inhumane, and then they will either get hit by a car or not fed, or even become so scared that they bite.
Amen. Again, folks, don't do it, and there are better ways. All right? And then let's just mention one more time, because we'd love to have Ned. How long's Ned been with you, Susan?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
He's adoptable.
He's adoptable. And Diamond?
She's been here 100 days.
100 days.
Yes.
All right. They need a good home, folks.
Yes.
So if you can, there's no better companion. You'll never have a better friend than one of these guys. And they need you as much as you need them. Remember, we're at Bossier Animal Control. Don't dump. There are better options. More news and weather coming up right after this. Good morning, everybody. Rick Rowe. I've got 3 brand new friends here. There's no better friend, folks, that you'll ever have, better companion than a dog. I met these guys on Saturday. My wife and I were at Meadowview Park in Bossier City. These 3 guys came up to us cold and hungry. I could tell they had not been fed in a few days. And someone apparently had dumped them in the park, okay? Well, that's wrong. That's morally wrong, but it's also legally wrong. We all know that, okay? There are laws against that. That's called animal cruelty. So I want to send the message this morning, especially this time of the year. We've got terribly cold weather coming up this weekend. Do not dump a dog ever, but especially, Dr. Ashley Turner, this time of the year. You live in a rural area of the parish, and so you see this too. You see animals being dumped quite often.
Yes, witnessed crates of cats being released and found several dogs that have been dumped and left.
And there are better ways, right?
Yes,
I mean,
course.
these guys right here are being nursed back to health. By the way, this is Dr. Ashley Turner. We're at PetStar, wonderful veterinary medicine place and a boarding facility right off of Benton Road. She has taken them in, and you are nursing them back to health. Is that correct?
That is correct, with the help of you and Tanya, yes.
Well, yeah, and we're going to meet Tanya here in just a second. But again, folks, the message is, and you would echo this, Dr. Turner, don't dump a dog.
Right.
Don't just drop them off at the end of a road. They're going to die, okay?
Right.
These are domesticated animals. They're not coyotes that can't go out and find their own food.
Correct.
They will freeze to death or, in the heat of summer.
Right.
I mean, they're going to die, and it's going to be a miserable death.
Yes.
And there are alternatives. That's the key thing that I want people to understand. That if you can't handle it, somebody can, okay? Someone, and we're hoping this morning, by the way, I'd love for somebody to we've got Percy here, and this is Bella, and this is Sadie. And they are, look, this is the way they came up to my wife and I, just as sweet and gentle. They are sweet, precious dogs. Now, the alternatives, okay, to dumping a dog. Here we go. I'm gonna let you meet this is the angel right there. Stand right there. Tanya, right there. Tanya Tucker. Tanya Parker. She runs an organization called Paws for Life. This organization has rescued, listen to this, folks, 11,000, mostly dogs, and you do it by transportation. How do you do it, Tanya?
We work with a lot of rescues, mostly in the Midwest and the North.
Meaning that you take dogs from here, and potentially these 3 dogs,
Yes.
and you put them in a van, and you drive them up or fly them up.
Or we have transporters who come from the rescues and pick them up. One of our largest one is North Shore Animal League America in Port Washington, New York.
These are wonderful people, by the way.
Oh, yes, we
They've
just-
taken in thousands of animals.
Thousands. Last Monday, we just did our 90th transport with them and sent 50 puppies and dogs.
Real quick, they're wrapping me up. And then locally, there are rescues.
We have over a dozen rescues, and you can contact any of us. We will help you with food, give you some options, work with you, maybe even take your dogs if you need them to go immediately, but please do not dump them, and especially in these next few weeks because it's going to be in the teens.
Amen. Folks, again, it's wrong, okay? It's legally wrong, it's morally wrong, and there are other options, other things that you can do. Dr. Ashley Turner, thank you. I appreciate you. Tanya Tucker, Parker, you're wonderful. Coming back to you.